when you picked me up 5 seconds ago.
Alright, I'm gonna warn you about something right up front. This video is not about physics. I know it's in the title. That was my intent, was to learn about physics.
I'm just gonna close that.
That isn't what this video turned out to be about.
So Wheatley here has the misfortune of being in my project, and so he is our test subject, and he is going to endure a lot of things for science in the next few days. I thought it'd be fun if I gave him the ability to detect when he's moving at a very high velocity and then react by screaming in terror.
Oh, brilliant! You did find a portal gun!
Which is not necessary, but it's fun. So early on, I was just tweaking these settings and then throwing Wheatley around to see what happened. I mean, that's a very old school way to do science. That's some Galileo stuff. I decided to kind of up my game a little bit. All right, let's get in here. Ooh. Dr. Kleiner, good afternoon, sir. I can see you're doing some very valuable physics research here. Whoa. See, like this is some legit science. This is the kind of stuff, I don't know how to do this kind of stuff. This is why I need your help. You guys know what you're doing. You guys have all the, look at all this equipment you have. Why do you look so forlorn? Your job is awesome. Look what you're helping with. This is so cool. He's like, man, I don't even know what these computers do. That's a graph editor. You guys animating things? Well, I'm doing my own physics research over in Unity, and I was wondering if you could help me out a little bit. Just maybe lend some scientific legitimacy to my operation, perhaps? May I borrow Dr. Kleiner for a moment? So we just got to send you off to Unity then. One thing I should warn you about before you go, you're gonna have to go through a bit of a process to get to Unity. I am gonna have to rip you into tiny bits and bytes, which is probably gonna be very unpleasant and possibly excruciatingly painful. And I don't think there's any way for me to get you back here after I've done that. So you're just gonna kind of be stuck there forever. Hope that's okay. Bye! So I kidnapped a video game scientist to stand by and watch and made this tracking system here. Whatever I put in this cube will be tracked on the big board here. There'll be numbers instead of the letter X. It makes these numbers. Look how precise they are. Look at all those decimal places. This looks like real science. I'm excited about this, aren't you? The good numbers. I don't know what to do with them really, but it looks legit, right? Dr. Kleiner, are you writing this down? It's not science if you don't write it down, Dr. Kleiner. Then I kind of noticed that something went wrong. My tracking system just kind of stopped working. And then I realized the reason that Dr. Kleiner wasn't writing any of this down was he was stuck in T-pose. And his physics were just very, very weird. Okay. I figured out later it had to do with how his animator's root transform interacted with the physics. It was a whole thing to work out. Oh my god, I forgot to put him on a different collision layer. So every time I'd pick him up, he would collide with me if he got too close and send me flying into the air. So I basically had a Dr. Kleiner hoverboard, which is very useful for transportation in a large facility like this. I did in fact forget to put in any sort of elevator or stairs to return to the main testing platform, so you know, not the worst thing. But at that point, I kind of realized I was kind of done for the day. Everything was broken. Oh no. He's trapped in the upside down. I knew I had a lot of debugging ahead of me, so I just decided to have a little free time, little recreation before I had to sit down and start beating my head against my computer monitor again.
Look, I'm still trying to learn. See? I checked the settings so I can observe how his physics settings affect this golf swing. Don't look at me like that, Dr. K. You're a man of science, you understand. Did that ricochet off the back wall before going forward? Look at it bounce! That's some good physics research. Speaking of physics, what is going on with you?
So, in a previous video, I made a robot that I can high-five at the end of a successful test to celebrate, but today is not a day for that. So, I also made myself an anti-high-five bot. For times when things aren't going so well, and I need to express my rage at the situation. So I got Dr. Kleiner working again, all of his physics and his animation are working together nicely, and I reworked the tracking board,
And I added this handy reset button, so if I knock everyone off the platform like an idiot again, it puts them all right back. Right back. Right back where they belong, consistently every time. It's a very good system, don't even worry about it.
Alright, you're probably sick of this bounce test. What are we even learning from this? That things with a high bounciness setting bounce high? Great, good science. Don't worry, we'll be moving on shortly enough. We finally had a successful test. We got some good bounciness, got some good numbers, and we are ready to move on. Successful test. High five bot. High five bot. I found him over here in the corner. Oh, shush, you're fine.
You just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
High five bot failed to show up for duty. Of all the things to go wrong,
I checked in the editor later and he was absolutely where he was supposed to be.
I think I was just standing where he tried to spawn and he ricocheted violently away from me. Alright, I've seen enough of this bounce test. Let's do something new. Hey Wheatley, look what I made! Also, because he kept escaping, I upgraded my test subject table. It's now a dispenser. It's got a little trough at the bottom that catches them. Dry bouncing away from your obligations to science now, you cheeky little... From what I remember of 5th grade science, isolating factors is a thing you're supposed to do, so this was my attempt to do so. The properties that we're messing with today exist on 2 things. There's the rigid body, which has the mass drag and angular drag, and then there's the physic material, which has the dynamic friction, the static friction, the bounciness, the friction combined, the bounce combined. And so I split my test subject containment units into 2 categories. We've got one over here, which is only gonna have physics materials factors messed with, and this one over here, which is the opposite. Only messed with the factors on the rigid body. And then instead of numbers this time, I decided it'd be better to use a motion trail, which is good for drawing beautiful parabolas through the air, as well as annoying old men. Thing is, so far, I'd only been using Playmaker to make all this stuff. Playmaker is this thing that you can use to make these sort of convoluted, well, hopefully not convoluted, but in my case, yes, convoluted flowcharts that control what happens in the video game. It comes with all of these actions, but unfortunately, you are then limited by this menu of options. There's stuff that I needed to do that I didn't have an action for. I decided it was finally time for me to actually learn C#. So I made a few simple things first. I made this one that spins a thing around really fast, which I didn't really need, but it was kind of fun. But here's what I really needed to harness the power of C# for. So I could just prepare this scene the way I did the other ones by copying and pasting these Wheatleys many times and individually changing the factors on each copy of it one by one, but that's for suckers who don't know how to code, man. And previously I was typing all these labels with their physics stats. That's not gonna be a reasonable way to do things anymore because I'm gonna make a lot of test subjects this time around. This is it here. Guess what it does. You take your original copy, put it right there, and then you tell it how many copies you want, and when the game starts, it'll make that many of them. And you're thinking, wait, if it's just making copies, won't they all have the same factors? Well, I'm not stupid. Guess what? Yes, this is the system that controls the screaming. That is not what I intended to show you just now. So here's where it gets real juicy. So, I made an array of possible options for each of his physics properties. As each one spawns, the script grabs an option from each of the arrays and sets the property to that value. Another script grabs these properties and prints it in the label above his head. So now, instead of me having to make 60 individual Wheatleys with different settings on them and type out all their labels like a crazy person, I just type how many I want and hit play. It's a thing of beauty. The way that it's set up right now, they're all spawning directly on top of each other, and it's not physically possible for them to all occupy the exact same space, so the very first thing that happens in their little lives is they explode violently away from one another. Which, it's a very easy thing to fix. You just add a little bit to the code that makes them translate a little bit to the side, but they are birthed into the world, screaming in agony and terror, as we all are. I think this is a lot more poetic and amusing, so I'm not gonna fix it. Yeah, welcome to the world, my children. Okay, let's science. I can always tell when it's done building, because you hear this. It's done! How you doing, Dr. K? You seem eager. You popped out of there first. Alright, let's do some science. Interesting. Alright, here we go. Reset. Oh, the tail end of the thing hit him. Sorry. You were supposed to be done with your obligation to science for the day. 100. 10 versus 100. That's a good comparison. And away we go. It didn't make that much of a difference. Here we go, we got a maximum friction. Let's look for one with a minimum friction to compare to. Okay, ready boys? Oh, don't scream yet, you haven't even started. Bye! Pretty similar arcs. One went a little further. Minimum friction, well that makes sense. I'm learning so much science today. This may have not been the best system. Randomizing this. What does that mean? That's what it does when it's like 0.0000 something. I didn't make that an option. I don't know how it chose that. Fire. Boom! Boom! And your motion trail broke. I'm out of you. I'm out of all you. Okay. Okay, my reset button was supposed to turn off all the motion trails. I don't know why they're still on. This is another bug I gotta work out. Weird. Alright, well, I think I've done all of the science that is actually sort of interesting to even do here. What do you think? Bye. Well, I don't know. I mean, we still have some bugs that I never quite figured out. It's not a total loss. Let's get a high five bot. Decent science was attempted today. And we still have bugs that I never worked out. You know, this appropriately expresses how I feel about today's test. Super high five! He's going the wrong way. That way. Uh-oh. Oh no! Oh no! Stay away! You're gonna chop me up like a blender. This is the success today. This is the best thing I've ever made. You're gonna drill a hole in the wall. Shoot. Shoot! Be free! Be free! My frame rate! Ah! He's coming for you, Dr. Kleiner. You are so tolerant of my nonsense. Oh, look out! Don't look at me like that! I'm sorry. I'm sorry, old man. Alright, well, I don't know, what do you think? Did we do some good science here today? Did we learn anything? Hey, have you ever noticed how the turrets in Portal kind of look like bowling pins? Don't you hate that you're not allowed to take your cannon to the bowling alley? Don't you hate that cannons are generally made out of an opaque metal material and you can't see the look of dawning horror on your bowling ball's face? Well, I've just solved all of your problems. Whew, look at this thing. Look at this very sciencey thing we got here. The piece de la resistance de science, don't you think? I'm pretty proud of this. I mean, it's simple, but you know, I think it's It's elegant in its simplicity. You ready to go? Of course you're not. All right. Oh, right. Science. We're definitely going to learn a lot of something from this. Definitely not just something I'm doing for my own amusement. We're going to learn about velocity and force. I have a hypothesis. Hypothesis, science word. This is going to be really fun. Conclusion, it was. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It works. This is the only thing I've made that works every time. What happened to you? Should we be wearing hard hats or something for this? Yeah! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! That was beautiful. That was a beautiful explosion. I'm very pleased with that. I'm very pleased with our results. Heck yes! Man, it's almost less exciting when things actually just work, huh? It's a good day for science. Not a good day to be a turret, but a good day for science.
Yeah, so that was something. I'll be honest, I didn't learn anything about physics. Things with a bounciness setting of 1 will bounce pretty much forever, and things with a high drag setting will follow more slowly. Something you could have just learned from reading the documentation, so kind of a failure on that particular point, but I will say, I did still gain a lot from this project, because I mean, I learned C#, which is something I hadn't done before, so like, that's cool. The point of me making these videos is I want to inspire other people out there to try stuff. I mean, this project, even though it completely went off the rails, I still had fun and I still learned stuff from it. If you want to learn a new software, if you want to learn coding or something, just come up with something fun and inspiring that you want to do and just go for it. And even if you completely mess it up and it completely doesn't turn out how you planned, if you just keep being curious and poking around, you're gonna learn stuff and it'll be fun probably. So I hope this inspires someone else out there. Thanks for joining me on this very strange journey. Good luck to you. Go make something cool.